Grays Harbor area. I serve on the Grays Harbor Harvest Management Committee and have since the very beginning. At all the public meetings and after the meetings during the time other attendees were allowed to speak, some concerning issues not included in the proposal being presented are not addressed. Conservation. Conservation is lacking within the plan. The plan mainly speaks of maintaining status quo. Enhancement needs to be added to all wording within the proposed plan. Being conservation minded, I ask, how can we continue to fish into the escapement goals year after year and achieve conservation and recovery? Also missing in the wording, the plan to enhance our wild salmon returns. Guidelines must be applied to rebuild our wild stocks within the Grays Harbor Management Plan. Economic values. With WDFW spending somewhere between $250,000 and $300,000 to manage a non-treated commercial fish within the Grays Harbor system and the Chehalis River, the average ex-vessel value between 2000 and 2012 was only $92,652 in 2013 dollars. If 20 vessels participated in this program, an average value of only $4,632 per boat. Based on the average catch, this amounts to an average ex-vessel value of $13 per fish. Does this sound like economical value? Converting the commercial non-treated catch to sport anglers would add an additional $700,000 per year to the economic value of these fish. Marine Area 2A, and if you can look on the map up there, you see it's 2A, and I'll get into it. This marine area is actually the Chehalis River, which begins at US Highway 101 bridge in Aberdeen. This is about 1/2 mile above the bridge that encompasses all the salmon is swimming up the Chehalis River into a bottleneck. This allows gillnet fishing bank to bank, giving zero protection to weak stocks that must be protected for conservation purposes. I asked this area and that portion of Marine Area 2D above the mouth of the Hokum River be removed from any future state commercial fisheries, and WDFW find more fishing area within Marine Area 2D below the mouth of the Hokum River if commercial fishing is to be allowed to continue in Grays Harbor. Many of the people who spoke at the public input meetings have stated that state commercial fishers must be removed from all of Grays Harbor. The Pinot Indian Fishery Nation has a dramatic impact on Chehalis bound stocks. This combined with the state commercial fishery is what is guiding wild escapement below the escapement goals species driven. We cannot continue to fish in this fashion. Recovery cannot and will not be reached with only a maintenance plan in place. Was that 2 minutes?
Yes, your time is up.
I have more, and you have my testimony in front of you, signed.
Can you just hand it to Tammy and she'll
Yes,
give it
you should have.
to Tammy? Yes.
Sorry, on.
Yes.
Ray Turner, excuse me, I live here in Olympia, and I appreciate the opportunity to testify today. I only have 4 main points here. One is I feel and have felt this for a long time, the escapement goals are way too low. And for steelhead and salmon, not just for the Grays Harbor area, but really throughout the state. The second point, I don't see a 50-50 allocation according to the Judge Bo. It's just not happening. And we have not had, a third point, we have not had a retention of Chinook and chum on Chehalis, Winoochee, and Sassett for years. And the main point that I really want to stress, and you've heard it before, the emphasis really needs to be on conservation and restoration of wild fish. If we lose our wild fish, we're going to lose everything. We all know that hatchery fish are poor spawners and survivors. However, without hatchery fish, we wouldn't be fishing. And it is a real problem, as you know, if we get hatchery fish on the spawning beds. because obviously hatchery fish need to be caught. And I'm not against the tribes fishing, they have a right to do that, but I sure don't see a 50-50 situation for the recreational fisher. And the commercials have a right, but I felt that the nets from both tribal and commercial have been really too much for these fish to survive in this watershed. And we really need to put the emphasis on conservation. And as you all know, the wild fish are much better spawners and survivors. And at the same time, if we didn't have hatchery fish, we wouldn't be fishing. I understand that. But we need to have a balance. I don't see a balance in the management of this fishery, and I guess that's my main point.